Hello, hello, hello again. All right, since the last video, I just went ahead and added a couple of different layers. I changed one from back leg curve to just back leg, and I copied some of these curves to those layers. So these curves exist in both of these layers and these layers just so I have them because I want to kind of hide these control points. Now I added a layer for braces because I really didn't add these cross pieces in the last video. So I'm just going to quickly make those. And again, I'm going to have to use my curve closest point. So I'm going to come over here and do that really quickly. Oop. Nope, stop. Enter. Here we go. Boom. Got my points. Gonna delete those. And then I'm just gonna draw my braces in this layer. And I'm just gonna do some simple lines right there. Again, I don't know why Rhino likes to hide them in different views, but there we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna then move those new points back to the right leg. And I'm going to turn off my reference geometry because I just want to work with the lines, the curves right now, and show you a really fun, easy way to make 3D objects from just curves. And that is using the pipe command. I'm going to double click here on the perspective view, zoom in, and I'm going to work on the back leg to show you. So what I can do is curve, or actually I'm going to go up to solid, and I can do pipe. And what that's going to do is following a curve, it's going to essentially extrude a circle so that that circle is perpendicular at every curve, every point of the curve, kind of like what we discussed in the tangent video, is that circle is always going to be perpendicular to the curve, and it's going to follow that curve all the way around, unless I change the radius. So no matter what, curve is always perpendicular at every point, which makes a really nice, elegant object. So when I select pipe, the first thing it's going to ask me is to select the rail. I'm going to select the back leg right here. Now it's going to ask me for a radius. Now what I can do is I can kind of, let me go to the, let's go to right view. And I'm going to zoom out. Come on. Zoom out. It's thinking. Oh, what? Whoa, too much, computer. And I can kind of eyeball to see maybe how big it is. And it's probably 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to just change to diameter. And then I'm going to change this number to 0.75. Is that right? Well, I bet it's 1 actually. Well, it's a little better. We'll go with 1 for right now. Now I have the option of capping it, and I'm just for right now, I'm going to cap it flat. Oh. Again, Rhino's going to take a second to think about it. And shape blending, I'm going to stay with local, and I'm going to hit done. And it's going to ask me for the end diameter. Now I could make this really big, but for right now we're going to keep it the same, 1 inch for diameter, local, and we're going to hit done. Now it's giving me the option I can actually add different radiuses along this circle. And that's where sometimes if I turn my reference geometry back on, it might be helpful. No. Interesting. Where did all my reference geometry go? There it is in perspective view. Well, anyway, just for sake of moving forward, I'm just going to say this point, and I'm going to say let's do 1 1/4. And same thing on this side is I'm going to select this point and I'm going to do 1¼ and I'm going to hit done. When I'm all done, there's nothing else I want to select. And we can see there's the back leg structure to our chair. And the nice thing is you can see right around where that point was, it did get enlarged. And you know, again, you can follow the help and you can see some options here of what different options let you do. So that is super awesome and fun to do, to just quickly make geometry. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide those layers. And I'm also going to turn my reference layers off because we have a good idea of geometry. And our legs and things are moving in and out of space, but they are still there. Double click on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to do pipe for this object. I'm going to hit enter. And then where are my legs? There's one leg. I'm going to deselect this guy, select this one. And I still don't know what the deal is. Pipe. So again, I'm just going to go through all the legs and just give them the 1-inch diameter all the way across. And you can see here, there we go. Now we've got this nice frame of my chair. And I'm just going to quickly talk about some drawbacks to working with some solids in Rhino. And sometimes when geometry is very precise, we can see, I just want to kind of zoom in one of these connections. We can see this is the pipe, and you see right here, this is the edge of that pipe. And this is, of course, the circular pipe. And we can kind of see this rough intersection here. And you see how there's this edge showing. While it looks like they are pretty connected, they may not be. Because sometimes Rhino has issues with how they see geometry that's extremely, extremely close to each other. They could be like millionths of an inch off, not touching. And Rhino could say, okay, they are touching. We're just going to say they are. And sometimes Rhino might be like, no, they're not touching. And we can kind of see this when we want to join these objects. So for example, I'm going to select this and this leg, and I'm going to come up to solid, and I'm going to say a solid union. Solid union. And it says, okay, created that solid union. And let's see if it does it for this guy. Enter. And it did, which is great. Sometimes it might not always do that because that object might be just so minutely close. You may or may not get it. It kind of really depends. I'm going to see if I can just union all of these. And it's doing a great job doing all of these to make one single object. Now, I'm going to undo this. I'm actually just doing this to show you as reference. Because I might split these to make some other objects and things like that. But that is, in short, how we can very easily make some solid objects through the pipe command. Now I'm going to come back and I'm just going to undo all of those unions. Oops. Edit, redo pipe, and redo that last pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these in a different layer. I'm just going to say solids because I want to go over another option of making these. What's fun with pipe is having a variable diameter pipe. And I'm going to move these to this layer. And I'm going to hide those layers so I have just my curves. Now, Other options for making those can be when I do solid, I can do extrude a planar curve along a curve or straight to a point or tapered. Now, along a curve and straight is generally pretty good for when you have lines and things like that. When you do a long curve, you might get a weird object because the object doesn't necessarily rotate, or that circle doesn't necessarily rotate, or whatever it is you're extruding doesn't rotate with the curve. Like the pipe command automatically does that. And I'm just going to kind of show you. I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to draw a circle at the end here. And then I'm going to come back and do solid, extrude planar curve along curve. And I'm going to select the curve I want to extrude, which is down here, this circle. And then I'm going to select this path here. And you can see it literally just took that curve and moved it along with this more elegant curve. And it made this flat point because that curve is essentially moving up, over, and then back down. The curve itself is now rotating along the curve, along its perpendicular sections to make a more elegant curve. So those are just a few options of how you can kind of extrude objects. Now we're going to go into some other options later in a little more detail, but for right now those are some pretty good ones, and definitely the pipe command is very helpful. I'm going to turn mine back on. And so this is our goal at this stage in the game. All right, so next video, I'm going to talk about maybe how we can make the surfaces for the back and the seat plate. All right, so next video, I'll see you soon. Bye.